Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 434, May the 3rd, 9:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4:02 a.m. in California, 6:02 out in California, where a lot of our viewers and supporters are. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for comments, liking, subscribing, sharing. The Patreon is growing. I encourage you. $5 for a whole month of daily updates, all kind of stuff. Last night talking about Israel, of course, all the things in Ukraine and around the world. It's a really, really good community that's growing, and we use those resources to help our guys in Ukraine. So thank you for being here. We're getting right to it. Probably one of the top 10 days in the war so far because of the ramifications that are going to come from what we're experiencing. So tonight we've got our partner Zhenya with us, and we're going to roll him right in. And I say good evening to you, buddy. Good morning to you, rather, and welcome.
Good evening, Greg and friends.
Buddy, we've got a huge day going on here, and
yeah,
it's going to have ramifications. The title of the program tonight, trying to understand what happened in Moscow, and we've got Podolyak's response, Zelensky responding in English. If you're here tonight, you may not even know what we're talking about, but this has made big news because this is going to affect the war. Can we say that at least it's going to affect the war?
Sure. I think it's changing the mood inside of Russia, and the world attention are coming to it, and Ukrainians as well are in expectation.
Okay, so you're here tonight and you're going, what on earth are y'all talking about? Well, this is what we're talking about. Today, this morning, early, still dark there, you can see May 9th. So explain this to everybody. Of course, I've been here many times. You've been here. This is Red Square. This is the Kremlin, huge fortress. You can see the red, white, and blue grandstand set up. If you can't read that to the right, that is over approaching Lenin's mausoleum. And this says the 9th of May, which is the Victory Day parade. That is coming in 6 days. And you see the explosion on top of one of the Kremlin structures there. So Ukraine says they didn't do it. Russia, of course, is saying Ukraine did it. Russia is saying Ukrainian collaborators did it. Ukraine is saying Russia is doing it to themselves to validate provocation, mass missile strikes, and terrorism, and to escalate the war heavier. It's a big day. We have video tonight of the drone coming in. I've got video I'm going to show you in a second of guys climbing on the roof during the explosion. It's really strange. So let's look at the video and then we'll get your thought on that and others' responses. So here is angle number one of the drone coming in. Right there. Now I'm going to back that up one time. This is there. Here it'll come in again. Boom. Okay, so that's number one. Let's go to angle number 2 here, and then we'll discuss it. Here's angle number 2. You can see the burning over on the left. I'll back it up. Look dead left. There you go. You see the explosion. Of course, you see St. Basil's Cathedral. It is a beautiful place. There's a zoom in on it. Flag. And then the last video I want to show is here. What on earth is happening here? You can see guys climbing up on the roof, and here comes the drone. You may not have seen that angle if you're joining us tonight or tomorrow, whenever. They're climbing up the roof. We've got it circled in red. Boom. So that's what has happened. That is the very center of Moscow. Very center. We know that there's air defense equipment on buildings all around the Kremlin. They put that there months ago. What happened, Jania?
I have no idea, like what's going on. There is different versions, ideas, and one of is it's just to prepare somehow Russians before Russia will make a strong decision about using their new, let's say, like escalated to new level. There may be other type of weapon they want to use. The other version is that the Russian oligarch who lost a lot of money because of sanctions, they paid to do this, like a sign, and it can be any other. So yes, the air defense maybe didn't work, or it was in purpose, showing like to emphasize that Ukraine are attacking, and Ukraine needs to be like somehow. I think the Putin he's preparing the special speech on their parade one more time, trying to explain the war, why Russians are killing Ukrainians, and maybe they want to prepare a like foundation for this somehow. To, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you know as well as I know that the propagandist, the media will go nuts with this, and they will brainwash as many people as they can. It will be on the TV 24/7. They'll show different angles. They'll be coming up with their theories, but it will all be used to paint a bad picture on Ukraine, of course, coming into this. Zelensky himself saying very clearly, we did not do it. We can take a look at this here. This is Peskov coming out, the spokesperson for the Kremlin, and President Putin personally. President Putin was not harmed as a result of the terrorist attack, and his agenda has not changed and is proceeding as usual. Then the quote, Russia considers the attack on the presidential residence a planned terrorist act and reserves the right to respond at the appropriate time and place. I can tell you this, as of 30 minutes ago, the United States State Department put out a bulletin. I get the bulletins because I'm subscribed to it because I travel to Ukraine. It told Americans we are expecting mass missile attacks over the next few days. So either leave or make sure you obey the air alarms. That was a bulletin that came out to American citizens. If you're, subscribing to that. So we know that's happening. So technically speaking, you and I have been around a lot of guys in Ukraine that work on the drones. We've seen the drones. We've been with soldiers as they're working on them. For me, it looked like a commercial drone, not a military drone. We know what they look like typically. B, it came in low. That would have only been, the top of that dome, a 5-story building. It's a really big building, 4 or 5 stories up in the air. C, there was an explosive on it somehow. D, there had to be enough technology on it to detonate the explosive on top of the dome. At least somehow, whether it's an oligarch, whether Russia did it themselves, or, which we believe is most likely the scenario, 100%, because we believe in Zelensky and he said we didn't do it. The other option, Ukrainian sympathizers that are supporting Ukraine did this. I consider that the least likely, because even though it looks pretty simple to do that, it's really not. There had to be some technology going on.
Yeah, and you can see the 2 men were climbing right before it.
Yes,
by some reason. It probably they had some information. Plus, we got immediately during next 10 minutes after it happened. In a lot of public chats in Russia, social nets, they starting to claim and demand from officials, hey, you were mentioning if Ukraine will cross the red line. Maybe this is red line, and this is like it's escalating, and
100%.
we will see the next day.
Here, once again, here's the video you're referring to. Everybody watch. We've got it circled in red. You'll see the guys climbing up on the roof at the moment of impact. To me, it's simple. They've done it to themselves to do a provocation to lead to an escalation of the war coming up to the May 9th Victory Day, where Putin's going to give this great speech. We'll be here. We'll translate it. You'll hear it. This is our understanding and prediction. We believe Zelensky. You'll hear it. He says we didn't do it. Here's the video again. Two guys climbing up. Here it comes. I mean, brother, the odds of that happening and those two guys on the roof is nil. Something was going on. So we'll see. Here's some more responses from that officially coming out from President Putin. The official press release, everything underlined. It was attack. It wasn't a terrorist attack. I'm okay. Everything's going to be good. And this, you can see, is why we're at war with Ukraine. Now, Ukrainian response. Mikhail Podolyak, advisor to the Office of President. You can see the time there. May the 3rd, today, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, gives his statement. I'll translate the main parts of it here. He says, and that's his picture, Russia is preparing a large-scale terrorist attack. Podolyak. And that tweet translated basically says this: Russia's clearly preparing large-scale terrorist attack. Therefore, first they detain a large group of alleged saboteurs in Crimea, which happened 2 days ago. And then they demonstrate drones over the Kremlin. Advisor to the head of the president's office, Mikhail Podolyak. I think that's spot on.
Absolutely agree with that. And one more comment, one of Ukrainian officers commented, he said, hey, trust us. If we would arm that kind of drone going that way, trust us, the flag will not stay after this attack. Because you can see even flag stays there.
Yes.
Right after.
Here we go. One more time. Guys on the roof. Drone coming in. Detonates there. Flag standing.
And then the flag is there.
Yeah.
Show.
We're very confident it is some activity internally in Russia, whether Putin's angle for escalating the war leading up to Victory Day, or some type of response from Russians who are not happy with what's going on, oligarchs. So that's where we're at with that. Last person we need to hear from tonight about that, President of Ukraine. He was in Finland meeting. He's supposed to be going to Germany, but the details of his travel has been leaked, and that trip may be canceled now due to security issues. So he may not be going to Germany. But here's Zelensky responding to the drone attack.
No, I can repeat this message, and I think it will at least will be understandable for everybody. We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our territory. We are defending our villages and cities. We don't have, enough weapon for this. That's why we don't use it anywhere. For us, that is the deficit. We can't spend it. And we didn't attack Putin. We leave it to tribunal.
Clear as he can make it. Makes sense. We don't have enough weapons to defend our land. We're not going to send some up to Moscow. The other thing that I appreciate there is his use of English there. Brilliant. He could have been speaking Ukrainian. He was in Finland and had translation. He spoke English. Why? It's exactly what you and I have been talking about. The world doesn't really know what's going on because of the absence of the English language. We try to help that as much as we can, but he spoke English to deny that Ukraine did that. I think it was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Clear, simple, straight.
Exactly. Let's go to the second main topic tonight. And tonight's focus on the update is basically getting folks up to speed on the drone attack in Moscow. And secondly, Kherson. this one's personal for us.
Yeah.
Kherson today struck massively. Gas station, shopping center, grocery store, railway station, 21 dead, 46 wounded. Now I'm going to show a few pictures, then we'll get your response to it. And the reason I say this is personal for us, you see the lady sitting there. This is in the ATB ATB grocery store. This is where this is the store where Zhenya and I shop. We know this store. You're in the location where we work in Kherson. We've been right there on that spot that lady is sitting many, many, many times. Additionally, this is our gas station. This is Zenoco, public knowledge now. We eat dinner there. That's where we eat dinner. And I messaged Andrew Kimmel. That was destroyed. I messaged Andrew Kimmel, who's the producer out of Hollywood that was working with us and helping. I said, dude, the gas station where we eat, meet soldiers, and one of the last normal places in Kherson was destroyed today. He instantly texted me, goes, you mean right here where we were eating with fish? I said, yep. He goes, that's gone? I said, it's destroyed. I said, the guys lost their lives there today. And he was just speechless. Let me go a few more photos and then we'll get your response. It's outside the epicenter. This would be like a Home Depot. You can see the bodies covered, soldiers there getting the information from what actually hit. That's what they're doing. They're gathering evidence. This is the ATB. Yes, the blurred images are bodies. More ATB. Finally, it brings us to this. Now, in Kherson, a complete curfew will be established beginning May 5th. Not yet, but beginning May 5th at 8 p.m. until, folks, listen to this, May the 8th at 6 a.m. City completely closed. You can't come in. You can't go out. You have to stay home. The only thing you can do is maybe pop out on your front porch or hit the little kiosk that would be your place where you can grab some food supplies or whatever. That's it. You're locked down. And of course, we know Kherson, every time we're there, it's really like a ghost town, but now it's really going to be a ghost town. They're looking for collaborators. They were receiving information for those strikes today. So it's personal. What's your thoughts on Kherson today, bud?
Yeah, there were some more places they hit it, but just 2 weeks ago, seems to me, maybe even less. We've been there, me and the other Zhenya, my partner, and we were buying stuff, food for our guys, some chocolates and the bread. We were getting some breakfast there, plus this gas station on the way there and back. A few times we were buying the fuel and having late evening food or in the breakfast.
Tell them the truth. That's where we get our hot dog.
Yes, all the time. And one more place was heated. It's Kazachie, and we're supposed to be there these days. In Kazachie was our next place we had to deliver the food, and there were people killed there as well today. And Kherson, the other house was destroyed in Kherson. So and now, if you can check it, you can check it easy. There were no military troops living there in any closest area to that. It's a gas station. This is one of the main, most busy grocery stores in Kherson. There is not so much. And epicenter, the only supermarket where you can buy not just the food in Kherson, which was working. It's like, to buy some, home stuff, like kitchen stuff. So they did attack to destroy, to stop people's lives. So the only supermarket in Kherson now closed. They cannot buy stuff for home. And
This is Kherson. This is the river. It's right in the center where this was. As we come out and we go this way to support, here's Antonivka, where the bridge is, Kandika. But then also, Zhenya, over the last few days, a place we work a lot is Taginka, and that's being hit more, where our dear personal friends and many people we've helped a lot in that village. So you can see all along this river here, very active. That ATB, by the way, that grocery store is the grocery store where we bought our huge shipment of bread when we left Ukraine, when we left Kherson that day, and we went back toward Mykolaiv, and we went to Myrny, the forgotten village. They had no bread. And we dropped all that bread. That grocery store is where we bought all that bread. And it's now destroyed.
And you remember, it was the same ATB we used to buy special gifts and food and some fruits for 100 old
Yes, it's the 100-year-old Soviet soldier that lives out on the front lines there. He's in Fedorivka. Yeah, Fedorivka. And that's where we get him his little chocolates and presents. And it's personal. You know, when you see buildings that are hit, and we share this as much as we can, and you think about the human loss of life. But then once you look at, for example, a picture, and you look at a tile floor and you go, okay, my foot has been there 50 times. The gas station.
Yeah.
How many times have we sat in that gas station having a conversation with the employees, or maybe a random soldier that's in there? We'd spend half an hour or an hour in that gas station. So it becomes very, very personal for us. Now, coming out just now as we're recording for the update tonight, everywhere it's lighting up. Reactor number 4 has been lined with explosives, enough to the point where it's like hitting the breaking news right now. And we're talking about Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Could it be? Who knows? We don't know. All we can tell you is there's a lot of stuff going on right now, positively and negatively. The other thing I want to share tonight and get your thoughts on this is two last things. This one right here. Over the last week or so, those that are in occupied territories, and I will come back here. So everybody think about this. Let me change the color here. Let's do this. Everybody that's in the red, that's occupied all along these front lines, and then down into Crimea. Russia is requiring everyone now to get Russian passports. Ukraine has come out and said, okay, here's our viewpoint on that. If you are at a risk of personal harm or danger for not getting a Russian passport, take one. We will liberate you, set you free. You will get your passport back. Secondly, if you're out in a village somewhere way out, just don't get it until you have to. But if you have to, get it. And you're still our Ukrainian citizen. You're not a traitor, is what they're saying, if you take this to save your life.
Yeah, but if you have a choice and you can avoid it, please don't take Russian.
Correct.
Why? Because then Russia claiming there is a Russian citizens there.
That's right.
And Ukraine will attack Russian citizens. This is what they were doing all of these years since 2014, forcing people to get Russian passports, then showing to the Russia and the world through their propaganda channels that there is a Russian citizens living there, and here is what's going on. We need to protect Russian citizens. So this is like the world needs to think about that
That
and
is a
see it.
very good point. Because remember, as we talked about and have talked about so many times, this is an information war as much as it's a military war. And of course, on the military side, people die. But on the information side, the stories are built so that the terror can continue to reign. And, Ukraine said, okay, if you're going to die, get the passport. If you're not, don't take it. I think it's good advice, but your point there is spot on, because if they take it and then Ukraine does the counteroffensive, which is coming, it's the last thing we're going to talk about now. Now you're attacking a Russian passport holder and they spin it completely the other way, even though it's a Ukrainian citizen.
Plus, if it's a man, the next day after getting Russian citizenship, they can mobilize you, take to army to fight and to die. This is the one more the point you need to think, and this is why Russia forcing it every place they coming, they wishing the death to Ukrainians. They giving them Russian passports, like then explaining we fight for Russians, not just Russian speaking people, but they are Russian citizens. Plus, the next day after that, or next stage,
The draft order comes.
hey, you're the man. Here's a Russian. We have mobilization. Welcome.
Great points. Great points. So, as you guys can see, we're going to be approaching May the 9th, the Victory Day. There's been all kind of rumors going over the last couple of weeks. It wasn't going to happen. They're not going to have a parade. They're not going to do this. Well, they're going to have a small one, but you can see, as we talked about and showed earlier, Red Square is prepared. The drone's coming. We've tried to help give understanding to that and give a little bit of insight into Kherson tonight, which is personal. And then this commentary here you're dropping on us is fantastic. Now, Ukraine has stated over the last couple of weeks that you will not know when we're doing our offensive. And the deputy defense minister, the lady, her name starts with an M, regardless, she said, we're already doing it. Okay, you're not going to have a magic pill. Our guys are going, and we're going to go more and more and more, and you're going to see it and call it the counteroffensive, but don't think our guys are not fighting back. I showed the other night where we had actually taken a city block back in Bakhmut, but the information coming out today, and this is another city that you and I have been on the inside of with the military, is Orikhiv, down out of Zaporozhye. This is public information. We're not giving any military information, but what we can tell you is Ukraine is hitting Russia hard right here. And we can tell you there's some really good soldiers down there. Good guys.
And today I have it on our list. We have contact there. We have our friends there, our soldiers, and the next run to those areas, those guys are expecting our help. So we are going to help them.
Well, the great thing about this town here, if you remember, Zhenya, we were able to get inside the city. It was basically closed. We had military and police escort, their vehicles, got the full tour. We did the video downtown, talking to citizens. But as we entered the city, this was what people who are part of this community are helping us do by donating and giving, buying things, being a part. When we were coming into Orikhiv, where now Ukraine's getting hot and aggressive, the soldiers that we met at the block post had fake tourniquets. Yeah. And if you remember, we ripped them off of you. You actually pulled it off the soldier, and he was a big dude. You said, "Man, give me that trash." And you gave him a Cat 7 real American tourniquet, legit. And they were so appreciative, and they never forget. So our buddies are there. We take care of them. And that's a part of what makes this community great. So as we close out tonight, we'd say thank you to everybody for being a part and helping us. This is where we're at today. Probably going to end up being a pretty big turning point for the war, where we're going now into dry season. We're going to see what happens.
Yeah, and thank you very much from all the Ukrainians you're helping, and I would encourage everyone to pay attention next days to what's going on. All the speeches in that area, all official statements, and if you a believer, Christian believer, you can pray for protection because you think about today 16 or 20 dead and 46 wounded civilians just in Kherson. And we don't know all the amounts, all quantity of people who died today fighting on Ukrainian land for their freedom, for our freedom. So thank you one more time for support.
Well, last night I was up late. I was working on air travel. I'm supposed to be going to Africa with some guys from our church. We have work there as well. Air travel's so difficult right now. It's ugly. But I was up late working on that, and I saw this article come across Al Jazeera, and I just bookmarked it and ended up, of course, today not talking about it because we need to talk about Moscow and Kherson. But very interesting in regard to what you just said. And here is, let's see, here's the headline. Russian defense minister calls for missile production to double. And that was Shoigu. And I had other information on that, but it's interesting. That was yesterday. Let's double our missile production. And they can make those KH-101s, those X missiles, fairly quickly and inexpensively. The Kinjals, the daggers, that's different. But these other ones, they can produce. It was 40 a month. If they double it, it will be 80 a month. Of course, that's the numbers we have. It could all be wrong, but that's what we have. But interesting, that was coming out yesterday. And then today, the drone hits the Kremlin. So, as you said, everybody pay attention, and we'll be here for you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and in between. Every day we're on Patreon rolling. So, thank you for that. So, thank you, buddy. Good night. It was a
Thank you.
Good update. Yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah. See you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon. Good night to all.
To all, a good night.
How about a heart? Straight from Ukraine.